Hello, everyone. Welcome to 580, which is the introduction to numerical computing with Python. My name is Ali, and I'm a PhD candidate at Computer Science Department. I used Python every day in my research and my courses, and I'm happy to teach you about the basic concept in Python, and that might be helpful for your research and courses. So let's start with sharing my screen. So today in this lecture, I will talk about some logistic and some basic of the Python, basic concept in the Python. And the Python is an interpret programming language designed to be readable, compact, and scalable. Python is supposed to be close to human language, and that can help user to read and write codes close to the human language. So that's why Python is a popular language in computer science. And the course goal here is to give you some basic knowledge about the Python to write effective numerical program in Python. That can be helpful also for other courses like 5089, which is machine learning, and 5085, which is, I think, it's a natural language processing. So by the end of the course, hopefully you should be able to feel confident enough with Python and use numerical libraries such as NumPy, SciPy, and also be able to load your data and run some simple experiment on your data. So topics that we covered in this lecture, we have some basic programming concept in Python at the first. Then we talk about the numbers, vectors, matrices, and how we can represent this concept in computer and how to work with them. So we also show some algorithm and basic numerical function, linear algebra, and probability distribution to make it clear how we can work with them to use them on your data and show some basic statistic on your data. We also show how we can load and change data sets in Python. And we have also simple modeling like linear regression, k-means clustering, classification. We have some concept about showing data visualization, which is important to know your data before doing any programming on your data. And then finally, we have some content about the documentation and debugging in Python. So prerequisite condition for this course, formally, we don't have any precondition. However, if you have some knowledge about the linear algebra and probability, that would be better, and that make it easier to learn about the course. And totally fine is you don't have any programming experience. So the course is remote, and you can find the lecture videos and the slides on Moodle and Piazza twice a week. And we have a lecture, a Monday, Tuesday lecture, and a Thursday, Friday lecture. I'm holding office hour every Wednesday from 11:30 to 12:30, and you can also email me if you need another meeting, or if you have any question, you can email me and get an appointment. Office hours are in person in computer science 207, and also you can join on a Zoom if you cannot attend in person. You can see the links for the Zoom for office hour in Moodle and Piazza. Also, every week we have a demo QA session on Friday, 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. And also you can find the Zoom link on Moodle and Piazza. This is my email. If you have any question and problem with assignment or need help to solve a problem in homework, you can email me. Also, you can post publicly your question on Piazza to have some benefit for other students. I will try to have everything on Moodle and Piazza to make it easier for you to find the course materials. We used two main sources for this lecture, this course, and you can find online and also free. The first one is Introduction to Python for Computational Science and Engineering. The second one is the Sci-Fi lecture notes. You can find the links of both of them in the Piazza and Moodle. Also, I mentioned some other resources here that would be helpful for you to look at them. So let's talk about the course evaluation. The evaluation for the course will be based on assignment and a small project. The project has 40% of your whole evaluation, and 60% is for homework assignments. We have 6 homework assignments, and every assignment has 10%. So it's supposed to do the assignment alone. So please don't share your answer to the question of the assignment with other students. If you have any problem with a question in assignment, you can ask question from me. You can come to the office hour that we can solve the problem with together. But please don't share your answer with other students. Assignment will be released on Friday, and the deadline for the assignment are next Friday at 12 anywhere on Earth. So for the late policy, the late assignment will receive a 0, but yeah, you can drop one lowest score among your assignment. So we use Gradescope to handle and assign the assignments, and most of the problem that we have, most of the question that we have in the assignment are graded, it auto-graded. So yeah, you submit your code file, and then a program will compute your score for each part by running the code inside. So this is so important. You keep the file name the same as what it was. So you shouldn't change the name of the file that I give you for the assignment. So if you also find any function on the file, you shouldn't change the name of the function in the file, because AutoGrader looking for the file name and the function, and if you change the name of them, AutoGrader cannot find them, and you will get a 0. So if you find any problem with submitting your assignments in AutoGrader, you can email me, or you can come to the office hour, and we can submit it together. The project that the project in the project, we give you a chance to work with your data and have some fun about your research and general interest. So this is the purpose of the project, that you work with the Python on your data, and we don't expect any novelty, a state-of-the-art result. Absolutely, we don't expect that. But if you have that, that would be great. So there will be 6 components for the project, and the deadline for each component is same as 6 assignment that we have. For example, for the first assignment, if the deadline is a Friday, until Friday you should complete the first component of your project. So the first component is so simple. You can you should introduce yourself on Piazza. You can do it public, or send it private to me, and what I want to know in this component is you can say, this is my name, I'm from this department, and a brief explanation of your research interest or general academic interest. This is all that I expect in the first component of the project. In the second one, you should describe the data that you want to work on the project. You can use your research data, or you can choose publicly available data. And in the third part of project, you need to load and iterate over the data that you choose in the second part. And in the next step, we expect a one-plot visualization of the data that you choose. And after that, we expect one simple model or analysis on the data. And finally, you can have 1 or 2 pages describing the project that you have done, and 5-minute video uploaded on PDF. This is all the project that you should do for this course. So let's get a start on the Python and software that you need for this class. I'm using Python 3.9 for AutoGrader. That would be great if you write your code in Python 3.9. I believe that it's okay if you write code in 3.8, but try to do that, because the 3.9 is the last version after Python. There are two modules that we use in this course, NumPy, SciPy, but I believe that you don't have them. You don't need them for the first assignment. Jupyter, I use Jupyter for demo session, and if you use Jupyter, that would be great, because you can use Jupyter to run demo session by yourself, but it's optional. An IDE is a program that give you some component to write and execute code in Python, and you can use IDE to write code in the Python. I recommend PyCharm and Spider. So if you want to have all these features together, there is a recommendation that I have for you, that you can Anaconda, which is a complete data science environment. And if after installing Anaconda on your machine, you can have Python version, Python 3.9. I believe that the Anaconda install NumPy and some SciPy, and you don't need to do anything else with them. Also, I think the Anaconda come with Spider ID, and so my recommendation is that you can just install Anaconda. So if you want to install this program, you can click on this link. You can click on this link, and there is a version of this version is compatible with your machine. For example, I am using Mac, and I can download the Anaconda and then install the Anaconda. After downloading the Anaconda, you can have an environment like this, which is the Anaconda Navigator. So as you can see, you can have Jupyter here. You can have Spider also here. You can install PyCharm or anything else that you want for these courses. So it's so easy to install Anaconda and have all these features that I mentioned together. So if you have any problem with installing Anaconda, please email me or come to office hour, then we can install it together. So let's jump to some basic concept in Python. Python, as I mentioned, is an interpret language. This means that unlike other programming language such as C and C++, that they compile the whole program at one time, the Python read and compile one line at a time. This process, sometimes called read a line and evaluation the line and print the value of the line. So, as I mentioned, consider that you have one line and you read the line, the Python read the line, interpret and compile the line, execute that, and print the output of the line. And this can be repeated for every line in a sequence. So we have read, evaluation, print, and loop in the Python for each line. One of the most powerful Python features, interactive mode. This can allows you to enter a code, the line of the code, and get the output of the code. And Python interpret the line and print the output of that. So this can be done with just typing the Python in Mac and Unix terminal, and I believe you can have that also in the Windows command prompt by typing py. So let's see an example of this. This is my terminal in my machine, and I'm using Mac. So here, if I just type Python, right, and enter, you can see that there is an environment interactive mode for the Python. I'm using Python 3.9 and I'm using Anaconda. You can type help to get some information about that. Here you can just enter a code line for the Python and see the output. For example, print hello world and enter. So this is the output of this line of the code, which is the print, the hello world. So as another example, you can assign a value to a variable. For example, x is equal to. So now I print x, and there you go. You can have the value of the x, which is 2. So this is the interactive mode of the Python. You can enter a line code and get the output of that easily. Also, you can do it with Anaconda Navigator that I mentioned before. You can launch Spider ID here. After installing Anaconda, you can launch the Spider. I think I already have the Spider here. I close that, then I launch it again. So you can see the Spider in the Anaconda here, and this is the directory that Anaconda using to save your scripts, and we are changing temp.py, which is our script. So you can see change the lines here. For example, we have one line print hello world, and then assign a value for x, and then print x, right? So if we want to run this script, you can just press this sign here, and here you can see the output of your program, hello world, and also you printed the x, which is the 2. So this also can be useful for writing program in IDE, and it's so useful for just changing the script that you want to use for assignment or something like this. Also, you can have a console-like terminal that I showed earlier. You can print something here, for example, here, hello world, and then enter. So the output of the print is here, and this is an interactive mode of the Python. So if you don't know how you open terminal or command prompt, you can use this link to help you to find the terminal and use it in interactive mode for the Python. Most of what you write will be written in a code file, sometimes called a script. And then if you want to run a code or a script, you can have Python script.py. A script is the name of the script that you have. Let's see an example here. If you want to exit the interactive mode of the Python, you can write exit, and there you go. So in this directory, we have a script named test.py, and we in the test.py we have print hello world, right? So if we want to run this script, you can have just Python, the name of the script, and .py. There you go. The output of the script is hello world. We can see the output here. So this is just like the pressing this sign that we run the script that we have here. After pressing this sign, you can run temp.py also, which is the output can be shown here. Scripts are located in a directory or folder that you have in your machine. And if you want to run Python script.py, you should be inside the same directory to find the script. So for example, here, so in this directory, I have my test.py, right? So if I change my directory, I cannot find test.py, right? Then you can see we don't have the print hello world here because we don't have test.py. So if you want to have that, you should go to this directory that you have test.py. So also you can write the Python and the full path to the script and run the script. So the main component that we have in the Python are variables. And variables are used to give names to values. And the names are assigned using the assignment operator, which is the equal sign here. For example, as I mentioned before, you can assign a value for the x. X is the name of variable, and the value of the variable is 2. So if we want to know the value of the x, you can just enter x or print x, and then there you go, you have 2. Also, you can have strings, like you can assign a value for x, which is the string. This is a string, and then show the value of the x. You can assign the value of one variable to another variable. Here we assign value of the x to y, and then you can print the value of the y, which is the equal to the value of the x. Basic data types that we have: integers, floats. Integers like x is equal to 2, and we have float, which can have some decimal point and decimal numbers. For example, 2.5. Also, we can have booleans. The value of the booleans variable can be true or false. So here we assign a value for the x, which is equal to 1. And then you can use the function to change a variable to float. So float parentheses x can give us a value of the x, but in float types. Also, you can change your variable to Boolean. So the value of the y is 1, and because 1 can be considered as a true and 0 can be considered as a false, the Boolean of the value of the y is true. If we convert the y, if we convert the y, because the y is equal to 1, then the output is true. So Python supports all standard math operation. For example, plus, minus, multiplication, or exponential operator in math, and remainder, increment, and the decrement. You can use all these math operation. Here we have 2 plus 3, which is the output is obviously is a 5, and we can print 3 power to the 2, and which is the output is a 9. And also you can use the shorthand version of the plus here. X plus equal 3 means that it's equal to the x equal to x plus 3. So after that, the output should be 8, because the value of the x at the first was 5. So the Python also support logical operator, the comparison between two variables, for example, less than equal, the equalization between two variables, which is double equal sign, which can check if two variables are the same or not. Greater than and greater exclamation equal, which is the not of the, and check that if the value of two variables are not same. Also, we can check have and or to make sure that, for example, check two variables are true or false, and or can be used for the Boolean data type. And also negation. I show some example of them here. For example, here the value of the A is 2, the value of the B is 3. And if we want to know A is greater than B, the output is false. This is a Boolean data type that we have in the Python. And because the 2 is not greater than 3, the output is a false. So if we negate this expression, we can have not A greater than B, then the output is true here, because 2 is not greater than 3, so not of this expression is true. Also, you can use or to make sure that at least one of these statement or expression are true. The first one is A greater than B, which is the false, but the second one is true because the value of the B is equal to 3. So this or expression, the whole expression is true because one of these components are true. So a string can store text. For example, here you can create a, a string by using quotation, and you can use single or double quotation, but you should be consistent to using single or double quotation. So for example, here we use double quotation to assign a value for the x, which is the string. String also supports many numerical operation or comparison. For example, here we have two string ABC with double quotation and DEE with double quotation, and we concatenate these two together. So also you can use multiplication here. You can multiply ABC by 2, and there you go, you have twice of this string. Also, you can use the logical component with a string. You can check ABC is equal to another ABC with single quotation. As I mentioned, double and single quotation are the same. So the output of this is true. And also we can check if the A string is less than B string. So because in alphabetic order, the A is the before B, so the A can be considered less than B, and the output is true. Another data type that maybe they are more complicated are list and tuples that store sequence of object in the Python. The content that we can have in list and tuples can be mixed types, and you can create a list using a square bracket. You can use you can create a list with a square bracket, or by typing the list keywords and parentheses. Tuples are the same, and you can create them by parentheses and tuple keywords parentheses. So here we have an example of the list, which is the A is equal to square bracket, and the Python consider A as a list. You can also use list keywords to show that the A is a list, and then assign some values for the A. And B is tuples here, and then we assign some values for the B. You can convert a tuple to the list by just mentioning the list keyword and passing the tuples to this function. And there you go, you can see the list change to the list. As I mentioned, you can have mixed type in the list and tuples. Here we have an integer and a string as a members in the list, and after printing the A, you can see that exactly same thing that we have in the list. Also, you can have mixed type for the tuples, two integer, one list, and a string. A here is the list, but after printing the B, you can see 1, 2, and a list that we mentioned for the A, and finally we have our string. Also, there is a useful function for the list and tuples. You can know the number of members in the list and tuples by len of the name of your tuples or list. Every entries in the list and tuples or string can be accessed by using indexing. And you can access a group of elements using the colon. And for example, here we have a list of mixed types, and we won't know that what is the first element in the list. So indexing is zero-based. So if you enter a square bracket 0 means that you want to know the first element of your list. So the output of this is the 1, which is the first element. This is the 0, this is a 1, 2, and 3. So if we want to know the A2, you can have string A, because this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, right? Also, you can use access group of elements using colon. So if we have A square bracket 1 column for square bracket, this can return position from 1 to 3. So this is inclusive for the left side and exclusive for the right side. So we can have 2 A, B, which are the position on 1, 2, 3, but we don't have the first element because we don't mention that here. Also, you can have access to the last elements of the list by mentioning the A -1, because if you can see the first element, the index of the first element is 0. So if we mention the index -1, which means that we are backing to the end of the list. So the output is the last member of the list. Another data type that we have in the Python are dictionaries that map keys from that maps keys to the values, and and also in the dictionary, values can be accessed by using keys. So the dictionary can create by using curly braces and or by just mentioning keyword the parentheses. So let's see an example in dictionary. Here we have A, curly braces, and we have 3 keys here, which is 1 string, 2 string, and 3 string. And the value for each can be assigned by column. And the value for the first element is 1 integer, and the value of the second element is 2 integers, and the value of the 3 is the 3 integer. So you can access the values by keys, and you can just mention the value of the key that you want with a square bracket, and there you go. You can have 2 because the value of the second element is 2, right? Also, there's 2 useful functions for dictionaries are keys and values. You can have the name of the dictionary here and point keys, which is a function, parentheses, and this can give you all keys that you have in the dictionary. Also, same thing happens when you mention values that you want in your dictionary, and you can see the value. But the main point here that the important point here is that if you print the keys and values, the Python change the order every time, because the order is not important here. You can just know the keys and values. If you print the keys and values multiple times in a dictionary, you can have different order of the keys and values in your output. Finally, we have a set, which is another types that we have in Python. Sets are an order list of unique elements. The difference between sets and lists can be shown here. For example, we have A, which is equal 12, 12. This is a list. After the printing the list, you can see both 12s that you have in the list. But if you mention the B equal to 12, 12, and sets can be shown by curly braces, and this is a set. After printing B, the value of the B is equal to 12, because sets sets contain unique elements that we have. So we don't have any duplicate element in the sets. So sets can be indexed, cannot be indexed, and you can create using curly braces or the key value of the set to create the sets. So that's it, all that I want to talk in this lecture today. And if any of the that of talk was confusing, you can come to the demo session, and we can going over all details that we have. Also, you can have you can go over the example that I mentioned in the lecture, and come with question to the demo sessions or office hour. If you cannot come to the office hour or demo session, please post your question on Piazza or email me. That's it. Thank you, and bye.